You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Hey Ramblers, today's episode is brought to you by Fangoria. Since 1979, Fangoria has been the authority in the world of contemporary horror. As the only sanctuary for horror aficionados in its early days, it has now grown into an empire that expands beyond its celebrated magazine. From t-shirts, coffee mugs, beanies, enamel pins, there's something for every horror fanatic in your world, even if it's you. So head on over to shop.fangoria.com/pencil and paper productions or use code pencil and paper productions at checkout to get 20% off your first order or magazine subscription. Yes, it is a mouthful, which is why there are links in the show notes down below. That's shop.fangoria.com/pencil and paper productions or code pencil and paper productions at checkout for 20% off. Fangoria, first in fright since 1979.
Buy it or we'll tear your soul apart.
You're listening to the Horror Ramblings podcast, the show about all things horror. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Horror Ramblings podcast, the show about all things horror. As always, it's me, Les, joined by the incomparable, the amazing, the astounding, the wonderful Stephen White. How you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing fantastic. How is everybody else doing today on this day, week? We're right. Christmas is right there, man. It's right there.
So close.
So close.
Well, we were just talking off mic. Couple things real quick for all the ramblers out there. This is the 100th episode of the Horror Ramblings podcast, which is exciting.
Yes.
I'm just gonna come out and say this. It's kind of a bittersweet thing for a few reasons. The show's just been on a long time.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
3 years.
I didn't think that it would become what it has.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like I feel like it's helped our friendship blossom over the last few years, because we do talk about stuff other than horror on the show, and we do have a lot of conversations that aren't recorded, that aren't on mic.
Right.
But I like to be transparent, and I hope you're fine with being transparent with the fans. Horror Ramblings is kind of going to take a little bit of a hiatus for a little while. I'm not going to say forever, because you never know how things turn out. We all have lives outside of the show. We all have things that we need to focus on a little bit, and it's kind of hard to record constantly and edit things and change things around.
Especially when it's not your primary job.
Yeah.
If this was our job, there would be no question. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll be honest right now. If I scratched off a lottery ticket tomorrow and found out that I did not have to work, I'd be sharing the wealth, and we wouldn't just be doing a podcast. We'd be doing like a YouTube show. Like that. Yeah. That's just where we would be. Life has a way of being kind of complicated sometimes, and it gets busy and everything.
And to be fair, I mean, anybody who can kind of look at our posting schedule this year, you can kind of see that we've had some issues maintaining. And again, it's no fault of one or the other or anything like that. It's just the way of the world, you know. I mean, I will say for example, if somebody wanted, well, what about Superman Crash Beyond? You know, it posted up every week. Yeah, but we record in advance. We don't really have that luxury here at Horror Ramblings to do that. Plus, the show doesn't really lend itself to that when we do news every week, and we try to stay current with whatever, you know, the topic is for that week. So it's a little difficult to kind of record ahead of time. Now, there could be other ways to do it, perhaps, but it's become a bit of a time sink for some of us, and I've just got a lot on my plate. I'm sure Lester has a lot on his plate. I go into a little bit more detail about it if you listen to Super Mega Crash Beyond the final week of this month. I talk about it in detail there, but for here, it's same deal. My brain needs something. It needs to focus elsewhere for right now.
The website will stay up. Pencil Paper Productions will stay up. All of
Yeah,
the old
none of this-
episodes will still be there. It's just no new episodes with you, I guess, would be the way of kind of putting it.
Yeah, that would be the best way to kind of look at it, because kind of what you'll hear, because I know this is going to post up, because we talked about it in great detail with Super Mega Crash. I don't want to say never again, okay? Because I don't know. You know, this could just be something like I need a break, and then once the break has happened, I could be like, you know what? I want to record again. I want to do this. I want to do this podcast shit again, and then I want to come back. Now, as I kind of mentioned over there, it might be in spurts. I'm not against any kind of podcast guest spots. You know, if somebody was just like, hey, we'd like you to join us on the podcast. Same with you. I'd love for people to keep you going where you went on Delight and Fright. I want more of that. I want to see that. So we're still kind of keeping our names alive, and we're keeping the brand alive. It's not going away. It just, we need a pause in hopes that maybe life will cut us a break and we can get back into a rhythm or find a new rhythm. I don't know. Something just needs to happen. But this is not a primary source of income for either of us, so it's not a priority.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things. We enjoy the show. We enjoy, we enjoy hanging out on here and recording, but obviously we can talk anytime we want. That's the beauty of the interwebs.
But it's who we've gotten to talk to some awesome people.
Yeah, and we've gotten to do some cool things. But it's just one of those things. Like Steven is saying, it does take up time. It takes up energy, and sometimes the reserves start to run low, and you need that time to just reset and relax and
I want to make it very clear to anybody who doesn't know, I've been doing content creation for 20 years. 7 of those has been podcasts.
Yeah.
Straight. Think about that. Non-stop podcasts for 7 years straight, with a month break every now and every now and again. Even when I started, I didn't do the month break, and eventually I was like, no, I need to take a break somewhere and then try to figure out how to kind of keep content flowing during that break, and I tried different things. I mean, it's time consuming. I put so much effort into keeping this shit alive and juggling multiple podcasts, all these things all at once. Tried 3 this year, and that didn't work, so I had to cut back to 2, and even that, I think my battery was already draining, and then I pushed it, and I don't know. I wish it wasn't like this, but this is just where I'm at mentally, and I can't.
We all need that time. Trust me. I've had a few things that I've been working on personally that I've kind of put on the back burner so that I can focus on putting my energy towards some other things. One of those things that you've been helping me with actually, that something that I realized I should probably put my energy here, because I feel like this is something that is not only going to be more beneficial for myself, but also help benefit other people a little bit more than other things that I'm wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely get that, but I want the fans to know, all 5 of them. No, I'm joking.
We got a following out there, man. Like I didn't even know this. It's a detail that I learned, and it explains why we're seeing more numbers over there. But apparently YouTube has suddenly become the #1 podcasting platform. That's why we're seeing all of our numbers spike over on YouTube and not on Spotify. So we're getting, like, the episode with Jasmine. Holy shit! Like, it spiked over 300 the other day. I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, all right.
Which is wonderful.
And I know that's not Joe Rogan numbers, goddammit. We're not there yet. I guess if that's a metric we all measure podcasts by anymore.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
But just so the fans know, it's not gonna be, it's not one of those things where we're never say never. never say that the podcast isn't going to continue in some capacity, because we can still upload things. It might not always be Steven. It might be me talking to just some random people. And it might not be as consistent, but it'll still be here, and you can go back and listen to other episodes, people.
Sure.
Go ahead, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, and also, like, another idea that I had that I thought would be fun is maybe we could do, like, limited runs. You know, if the mood hits us just right, we plot out a handful of episodes that we say we're going to drop, and then we do maybe like 10 or so, and it's just like, here's you a new quick limited run of this show. And it allows us the freedom to record it and have the freedom to put something out. You got your horror ramblings for the year. It might not be everything you wanted, but we'll try to make it worth your while. We'll make them dense. You know what I mean? And try to get maybe some special guests or something. So it's like, I don't know. It's just an idea. You know, if we're gonna do like a limited run, we'll make it worth your while. We're not gonna half-ass it.
Yeah, I kind of like that concept. Even if you did like once a month, 12 episodes a year.
Yeah, I mean that could easily be an idea too.
And you drop something just epic once a month for 12 months. I think that would be.
You make it worth the people's time.
Yeah, and I mean we've done. This is 100 episodes in. The podcast started on Friday the 13th, 2022. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're over the 2-year mark. If you think about it, month-wise, we're over the 2-year mark. And that, that's 100 episodes in a 24 month period, basically, give or take.
A little over, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's quite a few episodes if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
And we've had our gaps in between, but I mean we've definitely had our fun. Let's just say that. But before we get all sentimental here, I know we normally go over a little bit of news. I wanted to share something real quick that makes me very happy news wise, real quick.
All right.
Reviews are in for Nosferatu, and from what I am hearing, not only is it a horror masterpiece. It is just a masterpiece of film. It is getting glowing reviews from everyone that I've seen review it. People are saying that this movie deserves every award that it can possibly get. I have heard Skarsgård's voice as the Count. Mm-hmm. It is definitely something to behold. Let's put it that way. One of my favorite reviews that I had heard, there's a guy that does reviews on TikTok. I cannot think of his name right off the top of my head, but he had said that he's never watched a movie where the gothic atmosphere and the feeling of dread that shadows the screen, it's almost like it oozes out of the screen and surrounds you, and you feel it. Like you feel that sense of dread the entire time that you're watching the movie. And to me, it sounds like it kind of has the aesthetic of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I did hear kind of a comparison to that in a review. I feel like I did read that.
And when I stop and I think about it, and we've talked about Bram Stoker's Dracula on the show. I know that that aesthetic and that whole film was a huge deal at the time, and it got this huge cult following. And in a way, it's kind of a hidden gem because it didn't quite get the respect that it deserved when it came out. But it's almost like we're at a point now in time with film that those things that people kind of took for granted that became, cult classics, those things are now getting the attention that they deserve.
Sure, yeah. And
it's reflecting in this film. It comes out on the 25th. It comes out on Christmas. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I have honestly thought about going to see that in theaters. Like, it's typically, like, I don't want to be one of those people. I know that they say to go support the arts in the theaters and shit like that, but it's one of those that I wouldn't normally feel like I'd go to the theater for because, you go for the spectacle. But I don't know, man. I love that man's work, and I feel like I should be watching more of his movies. I know that I still have not watched The Northman, and I've heard nothing but great things. I hear nothing but great things about his movies, and I don't know why I don't push myself more to go see them because I am excited for this movie.
Yeah.
And I want to see it.
I look at it this way. When you go see it, let me know.
Okay.
And I am going to go see it first chance that I get. I don't care if it's just a quick like video call or if you just call me on the phone. I want to hear your opinion on it. Like,
Gotcha.
that's one movie I want to talk about with you. Like, what did you think? Because I feel like it's just going to be epic. And
Yeah.
I think when horror movies are done in the right light and with the right aesthetic and all of this attention is put into them, I think it really shows what horror is capable of.
Mm.
And I'm hoping horror gets its time to shine again.
Yeah.
Because it's always been consistent. It's always lasted as a genre, but it goes through these periods where people are like, "Oh, it's just a horror movie. Nobody cares."
Mm.
I'm ready to come back out and see horror films released constantly, and people going, "Man, I forgot how great this genre is," because it's just it's wonderful. Let's just say it. Speaking of horror related things, I've been seeing clips. This is kind of out in left field here. We had just talked about that series with the video game adaptations.
Yes. Secret Level.
I have not gotten to watch it yet, but I've been seeing clips of the Pac-Man one.
Dude.
Horror
Yes.
It's like horror at its core, man.
It was the most original take on the concept of what is, like, I wish I'd come up with this idea, dude, because it is so fucking epic when you think about it. It's almost like taking the concept and really making you think, like, what is this?
Yeah.
And fuck it blows your mind.
I've been seeing these people talk about that episode, and one of the guys was like, if they ever wanted to do like a mature Pac-Man video game, base it off of this.
Spoiler alert, it's coming.
Is it?
There's a trailer for it. They released it during the Game Awards. They're making a game of it, and I was like, fucking A.
Okay,
awesome.
that's badass. That's badass.
I can't remember what the name of it. It was something like Secret Labyrinth or something like that. I'll find it.
I think I remember seeing about the Secret Labyrinth. I didn't realize that's what it was for, but
exactly.
Yeah,
I didn't either until I
Man.
spotted the darkened Pac-Man, and I was like, is that thing? And sure enough, it was. And I was like, fuck it, A, that's awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be epic.
Shadow Labyrinth.
There
Sorry.
it is. I've seen clips from the Pac-Man one, and then the other one is there's a Dungeons and Dragons one or something like that. Or
Yes. Yeah.
I've seen
I-
clips where someone has like this evil within them, and they meet this dragon, and the dragon is promising to help them, and apparently the evil's way too much for the dragon to handle because something crazy happens. I've not watched any of it yet. I need to.
That's really the only one that I've watched thus far, and the only reason I'll say this, I was a little disappointed. I was kind of wanting to see the Mega Man episode, and it hasn't dropped yet. It drops on Tuesday, so I was a little miffed. That was the whole reason I was excited for the show.
They're saving it for you, huh?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but I should check out some of the others. I'm not connected to the games, you know what I mean? Like, I look at them and I'm like, well, I know them, but I don't have any connection to these games, so I'm not excited to watch them because it's like, well, I know it, but that's why I watched the Pac-Man one without thought. It's like, I know Pac-Man, so what's this going to be? Warhammer 40,000 or whatever. I don't know that game. So what am I excited about?
Yeah, I've seen clips from the Pac-Man one, the Dungeons and Dragons one, and I've seen clips from the Warhammer one. I'm probably gonna watch them all just so I can see what kind of style. But yeah, I was sold on the Pac-Man thing as soon as I saw the clips that I had seen. I'm like, this is brutal.
It's insane, but it's so fucking amazing. Like, as a concept, it's just so amazing to, like, if you were to adapt Pac-Man as something more cerebral, that would be it.
Yeah.
Like as a movie or a concept, is a bit larger concept idea.
Yeah.
Because, wow.
that's about all I have as far as like news stuff that I kind of wanted to bring up. Do you have any exciting news tidbits?
Well, I felt like there was quite a bit of news here and there that we've probably missed over the past few weeks. So I just wanted to touch on a few tidbits here and there. Like the movie Werewolves came out, and apparently it's a lot of fun. So kind of looking forward to that. Frank Grillo, who apparently is the star, or one of the stars of that movie. I don't know if you've checked out the series. He's kind of quote-unquote headlining as a voice, Creature Commandos on HBO.
Yes.
I think, people are immediately, because you're going to see the DC logo, it's fucking, comic books. I would think that our audience might actually dig this, because it does deal with creatures, horror-related kind of ideas, and it's definitely not for kids. So it's an R-rated series, so definitely check it out. I think it's a lot of fun. You get the bride, the Frankensteins, all the monsters and shit like that. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I've seen some clips of it. It is definitely not a kid-friendly show.
No. We got some casting for Scream 7, and it's like I want to be excited, but I'm not. if that makes any sense. Like I keep seeing people come into this, I'm like, God damn it. I don't know, man. It makes me mad the more and more they keep casting. So we got, for one, it's this dude from Gen V, that Boys spinoff. I remember the guy's face. I look at him. I think he was who was he? He was the kid that was like troubled the most throughout the first season. He like it was middle problems or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the girl who could shrink, I think, is the one who took him in and became his buddy and was trying to help him.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It looks like him. I don't know if that's him or not, but I'm almost positive it's him. There's him. Then what's her name? The girl from I'm trying to find the clip so I can tell you with some definitive. Christ, where is the story? I know I read it, motherfucker. She played somebody's fucking daughter. I got it. Isabel May. Fuck, I got there. See, this is why I got to take a break. Isabel May, she played the lead character, narrator in that show, the 1883 on the Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Western. She's going to be playing Neve Campbell's daughter in Scream 7. Then, what's her name? There's another, McKenna Grace, the girl from Ghostbusters, the new Spangler girl, the granddaughter.
There's another girl from
yes,
like Ghostbusters 2, Celeste O'Connor.
Okay, yes.
Courtney Cox is coming back.
Yeah, oh God, is she? God damn it, I didn't hear that.
I'm looking on IMDb right now while we're talking, and I'm seeing her on here. And I feel like IMDb these days gets the news like way after everybody else does, if that makes sense.
Well, no, it says right here, like I found a headline that was talking about like everything we know, and apparently she has entered negotiations.
It's so washed up and boring. Like, get over. You know what would be great? You know what would be great? I've got how Scream 7 ends. Are you ready?
Okay.
Neve is in the corner and Ghostface is standing in the doorway and she's hurt and she thinks it's over, and all of a sudden a machete stabs through Ghostface and rips up through him, and a hockey mask lurks out of the darkness, and in the free hand is Gale Weathers' head, and Jason finally finishes off Sydney.
I would love that.
There's your ending.
I would love that so much. The only way to end it is to have Jason enter the picture and fuck everything up.
And then you hear Freddy like, wait a minute. Why wasn't I involved?
What was this? Oh, yeah, we got a trailer for 28 Days Later. I don't remember
28 years later, you mean?
Is not that's what I was meaning to say. I read years.
My
brain may have made me say a different word.
I got
years. Okay. I don't remember watching Weeks. I do remember watching the first one, 28 Days Later. I don't remember 28 Weeks, but I'm excited for this, so I guess I'm going to have to go back and look for 28 Weeks Later because I don't remember it.
28 Weeks Later, like, for some reason, it kind of gets shit on. Like, people don't like it as much, and it's not as good as 28 Days Later. To be honest with you, I never really liked the first two, like, a ton when I first watched them.
I mean, I don't remember them.
But then
at
I grew
all,
to like I
hardly.
kind of grew to appreciate them for what they were. The virus is so aggressive in it. That's what drove me nuts. Like there's a scene in it where a guy looks up and there's a corpse. And a little
I
drop
remember
of
that
blood
scene.
gets in his eye, and then he goes nuts. And I'm like, that's insane. But there's
Yeah.
something kind of real about that
Hmm.
that really just messes with you. And I don't know. I'm kind of excited for the 28 years later. I thought the trailer really sold it. I mean, I thought it was put together
Sure.
nicely. It was just off-putting enough. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be scary if it's really off-putting and it makes you feel kind of like weird. I think that's great.
Before I forget, I have to ask, have you had a chance to watch Smile 2?
I have not yet. I heard it was really good.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah?
Like, I will give it all the accolades because that's the first horror movie in a long time that made me tense, like, throughout. Like, I felt
Really?
like I was clenching my seat because I wasn't quite sure all the time. Katrina, I almost felt like for a moment I was going to have to shut the movie off because she was so tense. And anytime something jump scare would happen, she would like clench my arm, bury her face, and just like hold me so fucking tight and just shake. And I'm like, I might have to turn this off.
Really?
Because I was starting to worry that it was going to affect her beyond what we were watching. And like even how it ends, I don't want to say too much, but it was just like I don't even know where you go from here.
Wow. I've
Yeah.
heard good things about Smile too as well. So I didn't know that you had watched it. So I'm glad that you told me that. I'm gonna have to check
It's
it
on
out.
Paramount.
Is it?
Right. Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus right now. It's, dude, just how intense it is and the build and everything. Like, even in the sense that, you know, I do hate cheap jump scares, but they do them so effectively here that I have to applaud that because they're building all that tension and then they get you just when you're not expecting. You're like, ah, god damn you. But it was so well earned because it's not done in that very, very cheap way. It's a cheap scare, so to speak, but built and executed with perfection. That kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
You got me sold.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch it.
definitely watch it. If you're not at the end of that just going, holy fuck, then we watched two different movies. That's all I gotta say. Because I really did. I think it's the realism of it all too, is how they sold it within the movie. Because again, I don't want to go too deep into this, but for me, I think what helped sell it is in the first one, you know, you understand that there's a problem and it's a little frustrating that no one believes her, right?
Right.
But to juxtapose this with a celebrity, and we know all these stories about celebrities and their mental health, how they get exploited. Use Britney Spears. I mean, it's a great public example that we're aware of. If you kind of use her as the example of the celebrity they're using,
Yeah.
you hear all these people as she starts to spiral with the infection of the smile. It's like nobody gives a shit about her well-being. It's just about her career. Like, she doesn't matter. It's the career that matters and nothing else does. And the realism of that is what frustrates you.
Yeah.
You know, because you hear these people and you're like, people would fucking do this too. You know, they're not listening to her. They're not hearing her. I've got a problem. You're just like, oh no, you're going to ruin your career. Oh man. Yeah. All right. I don't want to say anymore. You got to go see it. There's apparently another Final Destination movie coming out next year. I didn't know that.
I have heard a little bit about that. You know, it's not that I don't like the Final Destination films. I just kind of feel like it, you know, it does end up being just the same story over and over and over.
I watched, like, have you seen all of them up to this point? 1 through 5?
I believe so, yeah. I believe so.
I know I have not seen 5, and I've wanted to watch it, and I probably would have, but that's definitely one of those film series that I cannot watch with Katrina because the realistic nature of it does not set right with her. And I mean, that's fair, because a lot of the ways they set up a lot of that shit, you could be like, yeah, that could happen. So I get it. There's the very real possibility of it happening. So I have not seen the 4th one, but recently I did kind of like I wanted to get there. The fifth one I didn't see, and I wanted to watch, and I did watch the fourth one, which I had not seen. But I'd watched 3 and 4, I think, back to back, just to kind of refresh myself.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 and 2 are solid. 3, it wanes. Like, it's entertaining, but like you said, there's a point where it's just like, it's fun, but you feel like it's not as good, and you're just like, okay.
I'd love to see it as a series. I know that sounds kind of
I think
weird.
it would work better as a series, yeah.
I don't know.
Even at 4, like when I got to 4, I don't know, man. It's like you could just tell something was off. Like the whole thing, just even the logic was off.
Yeah.
And I did not care for it, so I was like, all right, I can see why this fell off the rails. But then I heard that the 5th one was actually a solid entry, so now I kind of want to go check that out.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like it would be a better series as opposed to films, just for the simple fact that I think that if they explored it a little bit more and explored the idea that it's death chasing these kids and everything, and sort of build upon it, I feel like in the movie, we get an idea of they're trying to fight against death. They're trying to figure out how to trick it or how to change it. I feel like if they did that as a series, they could really span that out and turn it into, something a little bit better.
I am curious, too, because I felt like maybe I heard this now that I'm thinking about it, because, I don't know, I feel like this news did kind of cross my eyeballs at some point. So it makes me wonder if Tony Todd filmed anything for this, because I feel like maybe he did, and I heard something like that, but I don't know.
Man.
I can't swear to it. I've got the internet. I could probably look it up, but I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna move on. It doesn't matter. We'll find out eventually. Hey, guess what? Evil Dead Burn for 2026, directed by Sebastian Vanecek. That looks right to me. He's French, and he apparently has full creative control and intends to give this movie a French twist. No details. What are you thinking this is going to be with a title like Evil Dead Burn? Because we know it can't be our idea of Evil Dead on a boat, because
Still want
Burn,
it. Still want it.
If it said Evil Dead Ocean, Evil Dead Sea, I'd be like, hey, they stole our idea maybe. But Evil Dead Burn, I don't know. I don't have any ideas right off the top of my head. Like Rise, you could maybe kind of come to High Rise eventually, but I don't know if it would be an immediate thought. Burn. What is Burn?
Either a town is stuck because of a wildfire and the book gets...
Ooh. Okay.
See that? Or they just go with a fire station. I kind of like the thought of...
Could that be...
I kind of like the thought, though, of, like, being stuck in a town and, like, you're trapped because of wildfires and demons start...
I'm trying to think. Yeah,
Man.
Like the wildfire idea in the woods, not a far-fetched idea. But I feel like they're gonna take us in a direction we're not thinking about, and I can't, for some reason, my brain, because I did the same as you. I thought firemen. It's like, what else? Wildfires? I don't know. It just like I can't deduce it in my head.
I really think we just... We need to make our own movie. We need to do Evil Dead on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a comedy version. We'll call it Evil Dead Boats and Hose.
I mean, boats and hose. I mean, to be
Sorry.
fair, hey, look, we can write a script and send it to these guys and be like, because look what they're doing, man. They're giving all these directors creative control for their movies to make these Evil Dead concepts. So we just have to write an amazing script that they're just like, yeah, we need to make this, and then we can...
Throw the money at us. Let us do it, and then you can reap what you've sown, and we can make you a bunch of money.
Hey, speaking of horror shows, some good news, goddammit, because we all need this, and people are like, this isn't horror related, but like I said, this is a horror show. Thank Christ, Sony has decided they're not going to make any more Spider-Man spin-off movies because they're all bombing, and they finally said, no more for now. No more for now. Fuck you, don't make any more, period. This horror show has come to an end, thank Christ, because yes, they ruined Craven, as I heard. I'm not surprised. So there we go with that. I feel like there was something else. Oh, yes. Austin Butler, the Elvis kid. He's apparently going to be playing Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. And, you know, I guess I'm kind of down with that. It seems like it's an interesting casting choice. You know, he is definitely no Christian Bale or anything like that. But, I mean, I also don't see Austin Butler playing Batman either. So if he can play this Patrick Bateman guy, I mean, sure. I'm like, I mean, how do you feel about the original American Psycho film? I mean, I watched it not that long ago, and it had been a minute, and when I got to the end, I was like, this is a solid flick.
Oh,
I just really appreciated the hell out of it.
I love American Psycho. I actually see it as one of my favorite films. Like, I don't know where I would put it with, you know, everybody's like, you have to have a list of like your top 10 films, and I kind of do have a list of like the top films that I love, but the thing is I have like subcategories.
I don't feel like you should have to. There are favorites.
Exactly.
Today, I mean, I can tell you what is my favorite thing right now, but you know what? Tomorrow it could be something different.
Exactly. But with American Psycho, no, I absolutely love that film, and it was hard for me. Christian Bale,
Yeah.
It was hard for me to see him as anything other than his character in that. Like when he played Batman, I'm like, I hope he brings out some of his American Psycho character as Bruce Wayne, because that's what I thought of. You know, just because he just did such a great job at, delving into a psychopath in that film, and I loved like I'll sit and watch it with some people, and they're just like, what is the appeal? It's like the scene where they're all comparing their business cards. How hyper-focused he is. I'm like, this guy is psychotic. He's just so hyper-focused on this stuff. And I'm sitting there watching this stuff just loving it, because you always wonder if people are like thinking crazy things like that. And here he is, and we're getting his inner monologue, and I absolutely, I just absolutely love that. Who played? There was a detective in that. Who played the? Or I might be getting my movies mixed up.
No, wasn't it Dafoe?
It was Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, he was the.
I found out, which is something that I appreciate about the film even more. They filmed scenes in that multiple ways, and Willem Dafoe in some of the scenes when they filmed, he would do 2 takes, and he would film it as if he knew that Christian Bale's character was the killer, and then he would film it like he didn't know.
Gotcha.
And apparently they kind of mixed them on purpose. They mixed them in the film so that when you're watching it, you're asking yourself, wonder if he really knows, or there's no way that he knows. And when you go back and you watch it, I get, you know, it's been a minute since I've watched it, but when you go back and watch it, you're supposed to be able to actually kind of tell. But they did it that way so that you would be questioning it. And I love when films do that, and it gives you a whole lot more appreciation. It's even got one of my favorite scenes, and I will say this all day. Christian Bale's really handy with a chainsaw. When he throws that chainsaw down the stairs and he kills that lady, like, come on. I mean, yeah. I love that movie, though. So, yeah, I love it.
So I guess I'm just very curious to know what take they're going to do with this and why they feel the need to remake it. Because, wait a minute. Up. Oh, sorry. I just found an update. Apparently, this is not a sure thing.
Okay.
So apparently these are just rumors. So nothing has been set in stone. Okay, so sorry.
In a way, I kind of hope they don't, because I'm so tired of everything being remade. And it's a solid movie. Go back and watch the original.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it too. If the movie is solid, leave it the fuck alone. It is good. You're not going to improve upon it. Leave it alone.
I would love to know what happened to his character.
Sure.
I'm not saying that we would need a sequel involving him, but it would be interesting to at least know what happened to his character. Maybe do like a short little like monologue thing where somebody talks about what happened or something. I think that would be kind of cool. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't need that. You know, it's just. I was trying to remember who directed the original. Mary Herron. Why do I don't remember that name? Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's continue. That Peter Pan movie's coming out in January. The Neverland Nightmare. Guy looks like he's a Joker ripoff. Have you seen his makeup?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me.
Have you watched the trailer for that at all?
I have not. I don't.
From the trailer that I saw, it actually looks like if they don't go too crazy, which is what I'm worried they're going to do, if they don't go too crazy, I think it could actually be a enjoyable film. Like,
Okay.
there's a lot about it that I was sitting there watching the trailer, and there was a lot going on where I was nodding my head like, okay, I can get behind this. Like, I don't know, there's something about the thought, like, they kind of make it out like he's psychotic. I mean, obviously he's psychotic, but he's psychotic in the sense that it's like the story that they said, what if Peter Pan was making the kids jump out their windows? What if he was killing the kids so that they would never grow up, so that they would be kids forever? And what if he thought Neverland was heaven? It kind of feels like that concept, like he thinks he's taking the children to Neverland when in reality he's killing them.
Okay.
And I don't know, there's something about it that just, I'm like, this could be a brilliant movie if they do it right.
If they do it right. I think that's what it always comes down to with me, is the concept to be so fucking solid and then it's executed so poorly.
Well, and I think that's the problem, is some people get a really solid idea and they think, yeah, the idea is good, we're going to make a lot of money off this is going to be great, and they get lazy.
Yeah. Lazy.
So,
Hey, here's something that everybody was looking forward to. I'm saying this like I'm being sarcastic. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I just don't know why the fuck. It's like they felt like they were missing out. But apparently Godzilla is going to stomp his ass into the Marvel universe next year and fight a bunch of people. For what? I don't know. It just said a 6-issue miniseries coming next year, Godzilla versus Marvel. So
they saw him fight DC and they were like, we want in on that.
that's exactly what I said. I was like, oh, y'all want in on that too. You're just going to leave Kong by the wayside, though.
Has Godzilla fought the Power Rangers?
Yes.
Okay, I thought he did. Because I'm picturing a Megazord going up against Godzilla, and
I need to read it. I feel like that's a
that.
comic that I wanted to read, but I've yet to get around to it. I did read the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meets Naruto, and that was interesting.
They did a movie not too long ago. It was Batman and the Ninja Turtles. And
fucking solid if you've not seen it.
I've watched clips of it. I've not watched the whole thing. I need to actually watch it because I've seen Batman fight the Turtles and he kicked their asses, and then Shredder and him really let each other have it. So
yeah.
Oh,
I wanted to, like, that was the one thing I was hoping for, is that Shredder was going to give Batman a run for his money.
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking samurai. I know that's Batman, but this is fucking... The man lives, eats, breathes this shit. So he should be a step ahead.
Speaking back on something that we talked about earlier, somebody came up with a great concept. I don't know why I just thought about it. Maybe because we talked about Smile 2, and then we've been talking about Batman. Somebody mentioned how interesting it would be to see the Smile Demon try to take over Joker.
Yeah.
And that Joker would probably embrace it because he's psychotic. And I don't know if there's any ears out there listening right now that could make that happen, but make that happen because that sounds really badass.
Because, yeah, what would that even be like, dude? I don't think it would faze him a bit. But what would it do? That's the question. What would it do? Like, how would that embrace work exactly? Holy shit. That would be wild.
Yeah.
That would be wild. Speaking of which, let's talk about this real quick because I know that I had shared it with you. David Howard Thornton was tuned in with Jim Cummings, and what first of all, just a shock that he was even on the damn show to begin with, because you're like, what the fuck is Art the Clown doing on the show about voice actors? It doesn't make any sense. But he just wanted to, they wanted to chat with him they chatted with him about Terrifier and that whole series, and I guess his desires to do other things. He sounds like he has a desire for voice acting. Yeah. Definitely has a desire to be the Joker. Like, that seems that was a definite.
He's done some short films as the Joker, and he's actually, like, somebody put it perfectly. They said that he's kind of a combination of Romero and Heath Ledger's Joker. Like, he has that dark twist like Heath Ledger did, but he's kind of campy and, wants to get a laugh like Romero did. And after watching him do some of his stuff, I would be down for seeing him as the Joker. And in all honesty, I think he would be great at it. And I know this is a joke, but I kind of don't think it's a joke anymore. I could see him wanting to get into voice acting because it seems like every character he plays doesn't say anything. And he wants to be able to, talk and do things. Like, I get that.
Yeah. And I think, I would agree with the Joker idea. I kind of hope that since they are kind of doing Elseworlds type stuff with the DC stuff, James Gunn is open to that idea. I'm fingers crossed that someone's going to give him that opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, to say, is he going to be the established Joker of the new DCU? Not going to say. Would be cool, but I'm not going to imagine that's going to be. But if some other filmmaker says, hey, I got this great idea for a crazy fucking Batman idea, what if, and then we cast him as the Joker? At least to have that. I would want that for him. That some legit director gave him the opportunity to play the character proper, and he's getting, not to say he's not a good actor or anything like that, but to have the proper direction from a director of the vision they're looking for, and he fit it, molding that, molding his performance and turning it into just fucking gold. That's what I want. So, yeah, he's a fascinating guy. If you've not listened, like if you're a fan of Terrifier and you want to learn more about David Howard Thornton, he's a fantastic guy. I think we'd get along great with that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I've met Samantha and I met him at one of the cons, and just I'll say it. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. These guys that play these evil characters are some of the nicest people you will ever meet. And fun fact about him, he actually was going to become a teacher before he got into acting. He stepped away because he didn't like the direction that the schools were going with education.
Fair.
And he got into acting.
I would agree with that.
But he really is. He's a very down-to-earth guy, just very nice. I complimented him, and he was very sweet about it. He was like, "Thank you so much for saying those kind words to me," and just a very nice guy. So I hope he gets a lot of work, and I hope that I hope he gets to play the Joker in some capacity, because I know he really wants to. So
yeah. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I feel like I don't have a dog in this fight. Like, I love the movie, but I'm not a diehard fan. But I feel like I can just smell the hatred in the air. You know what I mean? I could be wrong. But apparently there's a reboot of the Return of the Living Dead. Now, I don't know if this means they're like remaking, because it says reboot. So are we rebooting the franchise? Are we restarting over? It's supposed to take place in the snow, at least according to this little teaser trailer that came out. And you just see what looks to be, I'm assuming, the Tar Man dragging somebody through the snow in a graveyard. That's all it was. And then Return of the Living Dead 2025, I think. I don't know.
I like all of the Return of the Living Deads. They're cheesy. They're meant to be cheesy. They did one a few years back. It was like a college one.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's I can't remember what the name of it is. Let me look it up real quick while we're on here. I'm gonna find it.
I don't know. I don't have a dog in that race.
Here it is. It's called Return of the Living Dead: Rave to the Grave, 2005. They sort of find they find like a makeshift antidote for the virus, sort of, kind of, if I remember right. But it's dumb, but it's funny.
So
and it's
they're
still got
actually pulling on the same thread from the other movies, because I didn't know that they were all connected.
They've got their own like version of the Tar Man in it. Like, it's him but more rotted, and there's a part in it where he's trying to get to the college party that's going on, and he's actually holding a sign and nobody wants to pick him up, and he's mad that nobody wants to pick him up. Is it a great movie? No, but it's funny. Like,
Gotcha.
it has its moments where it's really it's really funny. Let me see if I can. Sorry, I know we're recording here, people. We're professionals, I promise.
Hey, they don't have to know. That's why they're edit buttons.
Yeah, it says rave or bust, and it's a picture of the Tar Man. I don't know if they've got anybody from the original cast in it because I don't know how many of those guys are still kicking.
Okay. Oh, wow. There are 5 movies? All right. So I clicked on this article so I
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
kind of elaborate.
Yeah,
It says
please.
our reboot of Return of the Living Dead will expand the existing world created by the original 5 movies. I did not know that there were 5 movies. I thought there were only 4. And only 4 because that's all I knew based that you told me there was a 4th one just now. Unless that was the 5th one. Was it the 5th one? I don't know. Shit. All right. So they're going to stay true to the R-rated, obviously, sci-fi, horror, dark comedy roots. We're excited to resurrect this storied franchise for current fans and new generations, yada yada, taking place 18 months after the events at the Uneeda Warehouse in Louisville, Kentucky. Where was that? What was that? I don't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. A new trioxin 245 leak puts a small Pennsylvania town on the brink of a zombie outbreak during Christmas 1985. So we're going right back to the beginning. If zombie...
Well, it
or
was
surviving
spreading
is-
everywhere, so that makes sense.
If surviving a zombie outbreak is hard enough, the characters in the army will also have to contend with blizzard conditions this Christmas. It's Tar Man who will be coming to town. Ha 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 ha. So it's coming out Christmas of next year.
Okay.
So it's kind of a pseudo sequel / reboot.
Yeah, in the movie I'm talking about, the college one, when they open the barrel, they actually take some of the liquid from the barrel and they use it to make a drug that they start selling on campus.
Okay, you said the one you're talking about was Rave to the Grave?
Rave to the grave.
That's the 5th one. There was one before it called Necropolis.
Yes, I'm just looking at that one now, actually.
Okay,
And
so...
are they the best? No. Are they enjoyable for what they are? Yes. They're so stupid that they're great.
I don't think I've watched. I feel like I've seen parts of 2 and 3, but I've never sat down and watched them completely.
I've never watched 4.
I've never heard of those. If I have, they were like, huh? Hey, did you know who's back on TV? Dexter.
Dexter's on
Not just
it's back on
not
TV.
just one TV show, but he's about to have 2. Because there was a new show that just premiered on Paramount Plus called Dexter Original Sin, which apparently tells the story of Dexter, but as a kid. But apparently there's 2 timelines they're covering within that show. I don't know shit about it. I'm just sharing information. So spoilers if you don't know. But apparently also within that timeline, we're finding out that Dexter might be alive. So Dexter Resurrection is set to premiere in June. Don't ask me. I don't know. I've not watched any of it.
Okay.
Just I'm sharing information. I don't know. It just says Dexter Resurrection premieres in June with Michael C. Hall. So, don't ask me. I don't know shit.
Wow.
So, yeah. There you go. Do I have any more news about stuff? I don't think I do. Don't see anything else. Oh, no. Yes, no. No. I don't have anything.
Oh, man. Well, I am looking at a list of our episodes. Are there any episodes, just to ask, while we're, are there any episodes of the show that we've done that come to mind that you would consider your favorite episodes of our show? Like, do you have any episodes that you just absolutely love more than other episodes?
I would definitely have to say probably some of our guest episodes, because we had some amazing guests who brought amazing energy to the show. They fit right in. It didn't feel like it was awkward or weird for the most part, you know. It's like most of our guests just came in and they just felt like a glove. Like, obviously we had John Brennan on the show several times. Always a fucking delight to have him on the show. I mean, Lloyd, I mean, he gave me the greatest fucking compliment I'll cherish for the rest of my life. You know, nobody has said that to me in that capacity in the moment like that. And I don't know, he didn't know me from Adam, and that was his fucking shit, man. And that just, you know, take that forever.
Right.
But I mean, I'm talking about bigger ones like that. But I mean, Christ, just like Leah or shit, blanking on her name. I'll get it. God, fucking damn it, Liz. Jesus,
Yeah.
Sorry, Liz, if you're listening. You know, she was our Tales from. We never did a follow-up Tales from the Crypt episode with her. We were supposed to do that.
Ken Sagos was great.
Jesus fucking Christ.
He was a delight.
He was a fucking goat. I mean, in all honesty, like, just an amazing, lovely human being. Like, I was a fan before, but it's like I became a bigger fan just talking to him. You know what I mean? And that says so much about people as a personality. Like, your personality sells you. You made me a bigger fan of you because you're such an amazing person. You know, I think I've done that before where you hear interviews with people and they seem snotty or hateful, and it I don't know, it changes your perspective. But man, if you walked out of that interview and thought differently of Ken Sagos, then you clearly didn't pay attention to a damn thing, because he was fucking phenomenal.
Jasmine Keene was wonderful as well.
Yeah.
We had
one of the best interviews we've had, just from somebody we didn't even really know. You know, She hasn't really done a lot, but boy, she was on top of it. She had answers. I mean, she was going all over it. Like I said, one of our top episodes, man.
And I think one of our first guests that we had on the show was Cheney.
Cheney, yeah.
Cheney
That's
Morrow.
another one I wish we could have got back on.
He was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that I love our guest episodes that we've had. I also really love the episodes where we come back from break.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have like a set topic. We just kind of freeball discuss stuff. Like that to me is when the show is best, when we're just sort of just going off on a tangent about things. One of my all-time favorite episodes, though, I'm not even in.
Which one?
Season 1, episode 14, Child's Play. You and Katrina talking about the Child's Play franchise. I loved listening to that, because to me, if you were not a fan of Child's Play and you listened to that, you would be given that franchise the biggest opportunity in the world. I mean, the way you guys talked about it, just it was just awesome to hear you guys talk about how much you love the franchise. I don't know, we've done. That's what I love about the show is, you know, we've done so many different types of things because we've never followed one concept. It really is just conversations that we have. Yeah, we do structure them as far as the subject goes, but we have a lot of just regular conversations. And I've noticed the shows that tend to get the more listens are when we talk about things that we really have a passion for. One of the biggest shows I think we've ever done, I'm not sure if it's still the most popular one, Dive Into the Drive-In. When we talked about the last drive-in. Well, you talked about the last drive-in. I listened because you had a lot of. I mean, you still do. You have a lot of passion for the last drive-in, and that was way back, episode 10, season 1. I'm going back to the original. Mount Rushmore of horror. I'm just, like I said, right at the moment, I just want to kind of like look through some of the episodes that we've done. I wish we would have done another episode about we did a WTF moments in horror.
Yeah.
And I wish we would have done another one of those, because there's a lot of moments like that.
And you know, I will say this too. I'm really curious about our audience as well, and what they were actually after, because it does seem like there's an odd trend of, if you kind of look at certain episodes, at least recently, it feels like the trend is, well, people want to hear about movies, because some of the movie episodes that we did, whether it was Hellfest, Abigail, let's see, I'm trying to find another one that was like up there, Lisa Frankenstein, these movies got, you know, the views went up. But then we talked about Thanksgiving, and it's meager at best, you know. Ghoulies 3 got more love than Thanksgiving. And it's odd to me, you know. Jasmine, like I said, 300 views, but then your tribute to Tony Todd is like still in the double digits, and I just don't.
Nobody wants to hear just me talk.
Well, I mean, no, but not even that. I mean, we talked about A Violent Nature a week before Hellfest, and more people were interested in Hellfest than they were in A Violent Nature.
I think it's just the one-off films, like films that sort of faded into darkness a little bit.
Or maybe the ones, that people aren't talking about because...
Like, that's no offense to Ghoulies.
No.
3, it's just,
for sure.
it's one of those films, it's been so, you know, it's been since the 80s, or 90s it was the early 90s for Ghoulies 3, wasn't it? Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of those movies, they just kind of, they fade they fade into, I don't even know what to say. They just kind of fade away in people's minds, unfortunately.
I don't know. It did strike me as odd that, like, what people seem to be focused on, or what they want to talk about, or what they want to hear about, and I don't know. I can't. This is why I don't understand the internet, because I don't know what they want. You know, I mean, Christ, you try to follow a trend or something like that, or whatever's popular, and then the internet changes its fucking mind, and it's like, we're doing this now, and it's like, all right, well, I tried. And it moves so fast. Christ, I was sitting there thinking about animation things I wanted to do for TikTok, and it was like some challenge. And by the time I'd already written the idea out, the challenge was long since passed, so nobody's doing it anymore. So it's like, well, where's the relevance in this now?
Well, and I've noticed too, a lot of those challenges, they go away, and then they come back, but they're just slightly different. And I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So... What is your biggest takeaway from the show that you would want the fans to know? Like something about the show that let's say that after this episode airs, it's just the whole show just fades into obscurity. We don't even think about coming back ever or anything, and it's just what is here, and that's it. Is there any big takeaway that you would want the fans to know, or anything for you personally?
I'm
asking the tough questions
sure.
today.
Yeah, because obviously we didn't get a chance to talk about all the things we'd want to talk about. I think that was the same sentiment we had over at Super Mega Crash. There's still a list of things we'd love to talk about. And, you know, the opportunity still could be there in the future. We're not closing the door on anything. How we come back, when we come back, if we come back, all those questions are unanswerable at the moment. It's indefinite. We don't know. We could change our minds at some point. It could be a year. It could be a few years. It could be weeks. It could be months. I don't know. It's just
if you get a hold of me in 2 days, I'm gonna tell you have to wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's fair. But all I wanted this to be, and I'm sure all you wanted this to be, is a love letter to the genre. And we wanted to kind of bounce from topic to topic. If you take a look at the movies we talked about, I don't feel like there's a trend in any specific bend to one type of film or another. Now, granted, we could easily say, if you kind of look through there's a lot of Freddy talk, there's a lot of Jason talk. But at the end of the day, we expanded. We did different things. We talked about movies. We talked to people in the industry. We talked about genres. We talked about nudity. We went to a fucking con. You know, we have covered the gamut from some of the most disturbing fucking movies to shit like Godzilla, for that matter. You know, I mean, we want to show that horror is all encompassing.
Yeah,
and it's fucking fun, or maybe it's not. There may be movies in here that we tore apart. But at the end of the day, we want you to know these are just our opinions, and it doesn't matter. If you fucking love that piece of shit that we fucking shit on, it is perfectly fine. You are entitled to love that film as much as you want. And if you don't agree with us, because clearly some of you don't, you thumbs down quite a few episodes, you fucker. It's one guy, too. And that's fine. If you don't like our opinions on whatever movie, that was perfectly fine. But guess what? It's our opinion, dude. And it's okay for you not to like our opinion. It's okay that we don't like the same goddamn movies. It's perfectly fine. Nothing. The world's not ending because of it. That's the shit I wish people would understand. It's okay to dislike other shit. You can keep that opinion to yourself too, and I'll at least give you that credit since you've got the balls to fucking thumbs down shit. Kudos to you to keep your fucking mouth shut because you don't want to come at me. And now they will.
I guess my biggest thing with the show is I wish that we could have gotten to the point, and we talked about it earlier, we're doing this show on top of being parents, being husbands, having commitments to our families, working and, everything else. And I wish we could have gotten to the point where we could have gone to movie previews, and gone to the first showings and reviewed films and things like that. And I know there's still a chance to, in the future of who knows, that could happen at some point in time, depending on how things work out with certain things.
Somebody wants to come knock on our door and offer us some money to keep the show going. I'll be there.
I mean, that would be my biggest thing is if people want to watch us review things, by all means, I will review things all day. It's just, I would love to make that my job.
And look, yeah, I mean, there's a way we can keep this going in a smaller capacity. We can do mini reviews if people would like that. If you would like to see Horror Ramblings kind of I think I could sit down with a phone and record a quick review of whatever horror movie I just watched, and post that up on TikTok or YouTube. We could do that. If that's something that would interest people, let us know. Communicate.
Right. And like I said, I might every so often send an audio file and be like, hey, if you get the opportunity to upload this, I know you're busy, but if you get the opportunity. So in some capacity, we will be around, even if we take a hiatus. We normally take a hiatus in December anyways. Yeah. In all honesty, though, it is one of those things where I completely get where you're coming from about needing some time to focus on some other things, because I think it's just taking me a little longer to get to that point, but I've had some other things. Go ahead.
Look at it from this perspective. For the last 7 years, I have not really had a weekend consistently that's mine.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because I have been doing either this podcast, another podcast, or possibly another podcast.
Yeah.
Consistently for 7 years. So if I've not been working on that or some other show or whatever, it's finally taken its toll.
And I completely understand that, and I think the fans will understand that as well. It's one of those things. If this was something that we did through the week as work, and then had the weekends reserved for other things, it'd be different. But the thing is we're always working. We always have something that we have to do, and it makes things hard.
And there are a lot of other great podcasters out there. We know quite a few of them. We've chatted with a few of them. Like Lester was already on that Delight and Fright not that long ago. I know that I know it wasn't horror related. There are other horror podcasts out there. Not to say that we're trying to disown our own. I think we have our voice, our flavor, and it might be better for some, might not be for others. That's fine. Again, it's all about what works best for you. If you enjoy the movies we're talking about, you enjoy our conversations, then I'm sorry that we've left you at 100. But it's a nice round number. You know how it made me feel about Super Mega Crash? I was looking at that and I was like, 65. That seems like an odd number, but it's not. You know what it is? It's the proper run for a syndicated show. They always do a 65 episode run of some animated show that came on back in, the 80s and 90s. And I was like, shit, there we go. I did a syndicated run.
Here's another question for you. I don't know if you have the list of episodes in front of you.
I do.
I'll let you scroll through real quick. But this is a two-parter.
Okay.
We won't do franchises, just individual movies that we've talked about. Out of all of the individual movies we've discussed and reviewed, what is your favorite, and which one do you think is the worst?
Like what movie Did I like the most, or did I enjoy the conversation with the most?
Watching the movie. What movie?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not the conversation. I just want to know movie-wise.
That might be tricky. Because I know it's not in Violent Nature.
And if you want to do conversation, I mean, we've had some conversations where I haven't been able to really give feedback. So
Yeah. It's true. I mean, looking most recent would definitely be When Evil Lurks. Like that would be top tier fucking, oh my God. Smile 2, if we talked about that, that would definitely be up there. Shit, and if I was comparing the two, man, I don't know if I can compare. Because it's different types of terror. I don't know. But looking through, because there are a lot of great franchises that we've talked about, but did we talk about a movie specifically outside? And we did a few.
I think
Evil Dead Rise was good.
I think one of your bottom movies, just because of how much you love Friday the 13th, I feel like you would have Never Hike Alone kind of toward the bottom. But I think When Evil Lurks would be your number one. Not When Evil Lurks, in a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature. Yeah, because, that, I know people liked it. And I'm honestly surprised we didn't get some hate for all the hate we spewed upon it. But, yeah, outside, because I'm looking back through some of our other conversations. I mean, I don't know if any really hit as hard as that one, because fuck, that was so solid. And applause to Leah. I'm gonna shout her out again because she's like one of our favorite people. She's the one who put that movie along with Eden Lake in front of our eyeballs, and damn if they weren't just fucked up, but good. Like Eden Lake made me fucking angry.
Yeah,
and I think that's the emotion that it's supposed to elicit, because I don't hear anybody get to the end of that and be like, you know what? That's pretty good. No, you're angry. Well, obviously, I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I felt like we talked about the franchise, not just the film.
Yeah.
And that one.
We covered all the franchises, I think, that we really wanted to discuss. Other than we could have talked.
We talked about Halloween, we talked about Chucky, we talked about Freddy and Jason, and we didn't do Hellraiser, really.
No, we didn't do Hellraiser, and we could have done. We just talked about it. Final Destination. We could have done Final Destination.
See, and these are topics we can jot down and say these are comeback. For the hardcore episodes that we're gonna for the small run. That's what we save them for. We save them for the good stuff, and we come back and be like, bam, here you go. And we might have to get Liz back. That's do guests, and we'll have her for like a special Tales from the Crypt episode, and get Leah back for some other fucked up movie she wants to spring upon us.
Oh, she'll find something for us.
I know she will. God damn it.
Oh man, yeah. I'm looking back here. We've had a lot of we really are all over the place, and I love it.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite episodes, The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one of those.
See, the autopsy of Jane Doe. That was another one that took off, man, because people don't talk about it enough, and I think that's what did it.
Freaks, when we had John back on the show.
I still, man, that bugs the fuck out of me. Like, I know there's nothing can be done, but I wish to God someone could unearth some missing footage from that movie and assemble the original cut somehow. I know that it's a long shot at this point. Like, there's no fucking way that a original cut exists, but damn if it did, man.
That would be great.
That would be the find of a century, because I hate that we cannot have this film in its entirety as it was originally shown. That's what makes me so mad.
One of my favorite franchises we talked about, just because of how much fun we had talking about it, Tremors.
Tremors, yeah.
Man, we really have covered a lot on this show.
And you know what? I'll give you a lot of credit for The Blob. Talking about a movie that I feel like had been forgotten, and I had forgotten about it, and you reminded me of it, and I was like, son of a bitch. And I've watched it since. Got it on 4K now, and it's a treat.
It's a fantastic movie. It's right to the point. It's brutal. The man. I'll just give you credit. I'm going to say it now. I'll just give you credit because this show would not exist if I would have had to record on my own. For the fans out there that don't know, I went to high school with Steven's wife. She is a great friend of mine, and I met Steven at my wedding, actually. And we hit it off. Katrina kept saying that we were going to hit it off. I figured that we would. But we hit it off, and I'd say that we've formed a pretty good friendship, bouncing ideas off of one another and things. But when I told you that I wanted to do this, you were like, "Well, I'll produce the show. I'll do that for you." And then I'm sitting there and I'm going, I don't want to just listen to myself talk for 30 minutes or an hour. I'm terrible at that. And when you agreed to co-host, I was like, okay, this is going to work. And you've always been good at everything you've done, keeping the show, posted up, posting up news things, editing, even though I know I normally do a lot of the editing, but you always chime in and say, hey, let me take this one for you, which is extremely helpful. And just keeping stuff together. Like you've always been good at keeping stuff together on this show. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot. I'm not good at this kind of thing, so bear with me here. But no, you've always been good at keeping the show together. More than you know, you reel me in when I'm going off on a tangent, more than you realize. And I appreciate that more than you will probably ever know. I truly enjoy my Saturdays in the morning when we get to record. This is going to get sentimental, so I apologize. It's not just because we're doing the show. I do enjoy talking to you on Saturday mornings about the show. I know if we lived closer, we would probably have quite a few mornings where we would probably have coffee in the morning, talk about random stuff. I would like to think that we would be discussing project ideas that we each have and maybe helping each other with that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But no, I have enjoyed this show in a huge capacity because I have enjoyed our friendship. I continue to enjoy our friendship. I enjoy just talking to you about random things, even when we're not talking about horror. I know it's a horror podcast, but we don't always talk about horror. Sure. But no, I have enjoyed this craziness. Even the episodes that we don't get a lot of views on, because we always find random things to bring up, to ramble about. And if it wasn't for you coming up with creative ideas for episodes when my brain is just tapped out on ideas, and putting the work in that you put into it, we wouldn't have even made it to episode 10. So I definitely want to thank you for that. And
you're very welcome.
I know whatever happens with Horror Ramblings in the future, I know we will probably still have some Saturday mornings where we might talk about things, or even through the week. But yeah, not good at these thank you things. So
it's fine.
I hope you know it's from the heart, my friend.
I do. And, as I had to tell my other co-hosts, it's nothing personal with anybody. I don't want anyone to think that I've just said to hell with everybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. It's nothing. If I could do this for a living, I would continue to do this because I do enjoy having these conversations. It can be a little taxing at times because, you get tapped out for ideas and, yeah. We don't always have the time to watch what we want to watch and talk about what we want to talk about. And that's where it gets frustrating at times because you want to do this. It's fun. It is fun, but it's not a job. And until we can make it a job, it gets, I want that to be made very clear. If this was a job, if I was getting paid for this, I would not be stopping. It's the fact that it's not a paying gig, and my brain is like, all right, we need to go play with other toys because I'm tired of this game right now. And I hate that that's where I got, but I've had to pay attention to it. And it has to tell me where we're at. And right now, it's just bored here with the podcast space. It's just like we're not doing anything creative, at least the way it wants to be creative.
Yeah.
And there's all these other things that it's looking at. It's like, well, that's kind of creative over there. You want to go play with those toys? And I was like, well, yeah, but I got all this work over here. And it's like, but I want to go play over here. And I was like, well, just wait a minute. We'll get there.
Well, and I think necessarily too, it's not so much from what you're saying. It's it's not just one of those, well, I'm not getting paid, so I don't want to do this. It's one of those things where it's like, if this was a job, then I could have the money and the freedom to do the other things I want to do as well.
Right.
But the only time that we get to do the things that we really want to do is on the weekends, and we can't dedicate the time to the other things we want to do because, especially in your case, you've got all these other podcasts that you're doing. So you're dedicating every weekend to doing podcasting. So you can't really do the other things that you'd like to do as well. And dude, that makes perfect sense. Like, don't ever let anybody make you feel like it doesn't, because you definitely deserve that time.
But for years I talked myself into believing those things to where I felt like I would keep doing this. And again, this is like, I want to make it very clear. Understand that I'm not blaming you or Lace or anybody.
Of course.
But I felt like I was going to let people down when I brought this up.
Yeah.
Like I was going to disappoint you. I was going to disappoint her. I was going to disappoint Katrina because, I was doing podcasts with all of you, and I'm the one who wants to step away. So that's 3 that immediately go by the wayside. And that's why I felt like the one with Katrina would be a starting point. I was like, well, let me put that one to bed. Because I even told her, that's one that she's talked about wanting to continue with her sister. And that's not happened yet. But, if they want to, I told them, yeah, I'll produce it for you. I'll put it up for you, whatever, if that's what you want to do. So if they choose to continue that podcast with the 2 of them, great. Fantastic. I'll keep it going. I just don't want to be a part of it in front of the mic. And that's a completely different thing.
Right.
So, again, here, that gave her that opportunity. Lace, she sees it as Super Mega Crash is like our thing. So if I'm not there, she's not there.
Yeah.
And fair. Because we even had that conversation. I guess it's a conversation that I don't think we've ever made public to anybody. But at a certain point in time, I was floating around the idea of making Super Mega Crash Beyond like an all-encompassing podcast that would have absorbed inspired by Weeaboo and Horror Ramblings is like a one-stop shop for everything, and that we would have rotated guests around. The concept alone sounded like a good idea in theory, but I can also see where branding-wise it doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying, I guess?
Yeah.
Because even, like, for example, one of our most recent episodes on Super Mega Crash, which was this was not my idea, so I was okay with it. I was like, this feels like it should be a Horror Ramblings episode, but we'll stick it here.
Because, I think I know what you're talking about.
For the substance, yeah.
Yes.
We talked about that, and that was Lace's idea, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we had a little crossover, but it was, we stuck to less horror-related stuff. But that's what she wanted to talk about, and that's what we talked about. So, but yeah, I floated around those ideas. I think I am kind of glad that we decided against that, because I do like everything kind of being its own thing.
Yeah.
And I just hate that everything has to fall apart, because I don't want to do podcasts anymore.
Well, and like you said, though, if I continue to keep Horror Ramblings episodes coming out in some capacity, there's a big difference between being behind the mic talking with me for an hour, 2 hours, and just uploading an episode.
Right.
And I completely get that. And if you and I want to do video to video or talk, we have phones. We can do this randomly if we want to. Like, I wonder what Les is up to, or I wonder what Steven's up to. We can do this at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be, this is a committed conversation for hours at a time. I can't have anybody in the room with me. If we want to talk like this, I could call you while my kids are in here playing. You can say hi to everybody, or you can do the same, So I completely get that. And I get where Lace was, a little scared, like, we won't talk if we don't do this. And I know it's not one of those situations. We could still talk, even if the show's not having us communicate as far as, like, how we do now. So,
right.
You have to take time to do the things. If you're burnt out on something, then take the time you need, because if there's ever any chance of you coming back to it, then you should probably take a break from it before you hate
Yeah.
it.
And, that's also the one thing I want to make very, very clear. I'm not hating any of this. It's just honestly feels like I've got other things that my time and attention wants to be focused on, and finding it harder to stay focused here when I need to be. It's
Yeah.
trying to think of like, because I don't want to get into it too much here because I know I've covered it a lot in Super Mega Crash, but getting older, and not knowing how much time you got left with certain people, and you want to try to take advantage of that. And I know that for me, it's not. I've got time, or at least I feel like I should have time, but we don't know. Could be years, could be days, could be months. I don't know. So I've for some reason making very cognizant of that, and some people are not as lucky as I am and as you are to have your parents alive still. And
Trust me, I understand, especially with some newer things that have been happening, which I won't get into here either.
But
I get
like
that.
when with Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo, when we were doing that show, like we did have 3 co-hosts at one point in time, and Todd's father passed, and he never came back, and I can't blame him. Like whatever that did, I don't know if I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that when that time comes. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. Like I've had moments where I've thought about it and I've just broken down, and I don't know why. Other than just the fact that I'm thinking about it, and maybe I'm trying to deal with it ahead of time. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. This is kind of personal, just real quick, but I don't think it's too personal for the show. Hopefully, how old is your dad?
72. I think I've got that right.
So my dad is 76. So I get where you're coming from, and he's starting to show his age a little bit more these days. And
well, let me ask you this: has he? Because this is something my dad, I've taken note. He's not said it, but I know that's what's happening. Has your dad seem like he's really contemplating his own mortality?
The last 2 years, he's gotten a little more in that headspace of, I know I'm not going to be around forever. And when you start hearing your parents talk like that, or your parents start talking about, well, we should probably have a will and this, that, and the other, it really makes you think. And no, I definitely get where you're coming from with that, because that turns into, it really does. It turns into one of those things where it's like, I want to spend more time with the people that I love. It's I love spending time with my friends. I love talking to my friends. I love the conversations that we have. But at the end of the day, I know that I should probably spend some more time with my parents, with my wife, with my kids, because when you come home after working all day and you have to do all of the other things to keep your house together through the week, and I don't just mean like your house itself, but the household and everything. By the time you're done doing all of that, you look at the clock and it's already time to get some rest so that you're not tired for the next day. And there's all these people that say, oh, well, you make time for the things you want to do. No, if you're a responsible adult and you care about the people that you love, you make time to make sure that things are in order so that their lives are good, so that things are easy. And sometimes you can't make time for the stuff that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard. It really does.
Like to that point, something that I felt like I've been doing more often than not, and I don't know what changed in my mental state that it feels this way, but there used to be a time, man, like if I got done doing this, I could go out to the living room, sit down, turn on a video game, and I'll be sitting there for the next 4 to 6 hours. Okay? I can't do it anymore. Like my brain's looking outside saying, like, what do we need to take care of out there? What do we need to go clean up? What do we need to go fix? What do we need to take care of? Because we got shit to do outside, and it's nice. So let's go. And I cannot sit down. Katrina will sit there and look at me and say, just sit down. Just sit down. I'm like, I can't. I've got shit I need to do.
I think we get into that mental space where we don't want to worry, but we can't help it, because especially, and not to, this is not going to come off. Hopefully, this doesn't come off sexist to anybody, but it really is a truth of the world. When you're married and you feel that you are the protector of your family, you feel that, and it's a lot of men that are like this. I think there's where the sexist part comes in for anybody listening. You feel like you have to have everything in order, because when the people around you, especially your parents, when you start to see their mortality, it makes you see your own, and you feel like, I feel like it's stupid, but it's also justified, because I do the same thing. It's like the gutters are dirty. If I get hit by a bus, or if I die tomorrow, who's gonna clean the gutters when I'm gone? Who's gonna mow the lawn when I'm gone? Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? It's all these things, but you cannot get them out of your mind, because you want things to be as in order as they possibly can be in case something happens. And we get in the headspace, and sometimes you have to find things that, I don't even for a second think that you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't think that's how you think about it. I think your way of thought in it is, I have to step away for myself, or it's going to be detrimental to my mental state and to my health. And that is completely justified, because there's so many things out of our control that if there are things that we can take a step back from, to focus on other things, that's good. Like, the world is not going to end if you're not podcasting. Is the world going to end if you don't clean the gutters? No. But is that a higher priority in your mind? Yes. So if you get those things in order, which you should probably check your gutters when we get off here. You get those things in order, and you get in that, you're finally able to take that breath of relief, just that, then you can start to think about other things. And, I might be just speaking to the wind here. You might be hearing this going, this guy's full of shit. And that's fine if you do. But I get what you mean. We've talked about our ages on here before. You're a little older than I am. Our parents are around the same age. We have, I have more younger kids than you do. But we have kids, we have families. So I do get where you're coming from. I understand how taking a step back can be the thing to do, because I had several things going on, not podcast related, but several other things going on. And there's a lot of stuff that I put on the back burner, and you have to do that. I look at it this way. If you guys decide to move up this way at some point, we'll just convince Lace to move up this way. We'll build a studio, and we'll just pick one day where we can just all record. We will record a live show, and we'll encompass everything together. But we'll have little spots where if you want to listen to the horror stuff, you can fast forward to one part, or you can fast forward to another part for the other thing. It'll be one day, it'll be like 5 hours, but then we'll be done with it.
It's very efficient.
But, right? But I completely understand, man. And
I just don't want to look back on my life and regret that I didn't take one more day or make more of an effort somewhere where I should have. And I know I probably still will, despite what I'm trying to do.
We all
but
do.
At least I can look back and say, but you know what? I did make an effort.
Yeah.
So,
and I will tell you right now, I will be here. If you ever want to just call me to say hey, or if you call me and go, Les, I want to record an episode with you. Let's talk about something. Or if you call me and you say, can we just talk about something random? For some reason, I found a conspiracy about Hello Kitty that I want to talk about. I am here. I am your friend. I am here. If you ever want to talk to me about anything, you know where to find me.
I do indeed. I appreciate it.
And this might be the sort of, I don't want to say end, but it is like a soft stop on Horror Ramblings right now.
I'll at least say this. How about this for all the ramblers out there? I promise we'll at least come back at one point. Whether it's for one episode or whatever, we will return at some point in the future in some capacity. Like I said, regardless of whether it's for one episode or a handful, I can at least promise you that down the road. How's that?
And if I have it in me, I will keep the fire lit in the hollowed house of horror. I will possibly do some short episodes of my own, and when Steven has the ability to come and sit with me at the fire at the hollowed house of horror, we will have a discussion.
And we'll make damn sure to surprise you. We don't want you to be like,
So we are going to take our hiatus, and after December, just keep an eye out. You never know, I might surprise you guys with a thing or two. But,
try to be maybe active on a social or two. Not that one called X. At least I won't be there. I'll tell you that right now.
X is about to be everybody's
Yeah,
X.
I've made a statement on there saying I'm not using this, so it's being deleted from my phone come the end of the year. So don't look for us there, or at least not me.
But guys, hell, all you ramblers, thank you guys.
Yeah,
for real. Thank you for listening to the episodes that you've listened to. Good, bad, ugly, weird. We've had all kinds of episodes.
Thank you to all the people on YouTube who commented every now and again. Just the random, comments, recommendations. All you got, anybody who commented on the YouTubes or even on Spotify, we really appreciate the engagement. Hopefully, we read your comments. I tried to remember them, so I apologize if I didn't. But thank you regardless.
And our stuff's gonna stay active, guys.
Yeah.
So if you want to go back and listen to episodes that you've not listened to, or re-listen to some episodes, please do, and make some more recommendations, make some more comments on things. Even email us. If we're gonna come back and maybe do like something at a smaller capacity, or if I'm going to do a few episodes while Steven's lost in the hollowed halls, give us some recommendations for some things. Tell us what you would like to hear us talk about, and we can kind of go from there. But again, just thanks for playing us in your car, playing us in your headphones, at the office, at home. Maybe you have a speaker in your shower and you're scrubbing your ass while you're listening to us. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. But whatever you guys are doing, just thank you guys for joining us and sitting here with us in the hollowed house of horror. That's my new thing. I think I'm gonna just start calling it that. I picture you and I sitting in two big armchairs by a fireplace. So, Steven, do you want to, if you don't have anything else, do you want to tell the people where they can find us, and we'll close this out, man?
Well, as you all know, we are on social media at Horror Ramblings, and you can find us on all those places where social medias are: Twitters, Instagrams, Facebooks, whatever. Send us that email at gmail.com. Find us over at pencilpaperproductions.com. I will say that the Patreon has been paused. If I'm not going to be making any content right now, I don't want to charge anybody anything for it. So no Patreons for right now. But like I said, the website's still up. All of our social medias are still up. So go check them out. Engage. Let us know that you're going to miss us, and that might change my mind about things, because that's also another factor of it too. Trust me, it was not easy watching these numbers go up and then say, I want to pull the plug now. You people came late to the party. I appreciate you. Go back and listen to older episodes, because 327 you on Jasmine and only 18 on episode 3. Come on. I know you're out there. So listen to the episodes. Let us know that you want us to come back and talk about more stuff like Candyman, Final Destination, The Exorcist, Scream, Hellraiser, all these other things that I have on this list here that I'm not reading. What do you want us to talk about? There's so many. We can talk about them all. So, no, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us talk your ears off about horror. And to the mutant fam out there, they supported us quite a bit early on. So I appreciate all of you out there who are part of that. And I know that's a bit of a fractured community right now, along with so many other things. But hey, that's the world we live in. Fractured communities. But I love your faces regardless.
And guys, to say it here and listen well and hold it to your heart, stay spooky out there.
This has been the Horror Ramblings podcast. Join us next time for even more horror.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.